What up, nerds? Welcome to another weirdo episode of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name's Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode 387, recorded Tuesday, September 6th, 2022. Tonight we're talking about another Patreon pick. This one was chosen by your boy Alex K. The movie is 2015's The Gift. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., we got our boy Randu. What's up?
Pumpkins.
What's up, baby? Pumpkin season is upon us. How you doing?
Pumpkin season. I am drinking a Southern Tier Warlock currently. That's how I'm doing.
Shit.
Whoa.
I got me some pumpkins in the fridge and some pumpkin brew from a place called Lakefront Brewing that Becky and I went to when we were visiting Milwaukee once. So I'm excited. I'm pretty psyched, and I'm trying not to blow my pumpkin gourdish load too early.
Man,
but Target's rolling shit out, and so am I.
They are. I got some Oreos from Target today that are like a pumpkin spice flavored. They're so nice. So nice.
Oh, man. It's a shame that flavor got completely obliterated by every side of a dumbest argument of all time.
I agree.
It's like trying to talk about Die Hard without talking about is it a Christmas movie, or talking about hot dogs without talking about if it's a sandwich or not. And I don't care about any of those things. So let me have pumpkin spice, motherfucker.
Oreos are cookie sandwiches. Last but not least, calling in from South Korea, we got our boy Soju. What's up, man?
Oh, what up? It's your boy Diddy Stains. Who's your Diddy, ladies?
Diddy Kong is my Diddy.
Oh, there you go. That's the perfect Diddy.
Yeah, the monkey tie-in. It's all coming together.
That's the Diddy that keeps on diddling.
Together.
Nailed it.
I set him up. Randy knocks him out.
Randy diddles.
Whoa.
Okay, well, let's not
and Rob creeps us. Okay? Rob creeps us out again.
Yeah.
Interesting. European style.
Yeah.
We call him old finger penis Randy. He's always running around.
I'm Andy the weirdo. Oh, I just want to lay down and have funsies with you.
I don't know. I don't remember what he says, but
yeah,
that's my Bateman. That's my Patrick Bateman impression.
Bateman, Randy.
Mr. Bateman.
Bateman.
Oh, boys. Let's tackle some housekeeping real quick. So, we're in a new month of September, which means our September poll pick has officially closed. Hell House LLC is the victor, so we'll be talking about that very soon.
Hell yeah.
Whoa.
Simply evil.
Evil.
Love it.
So
thank God we don't have to talk about Rob Zombie Deuce.
Yep, and we never will.
And we will never, ever, ever cover
I
it.
swear on Justin's life, we will never cover Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
The best Halloween movie
May God
ever.
strike him down.
Damn, Randy, you put me on blast.
The heavens. That does mean our October poll pick is currently posted over on our Patreon website. The theme for October is Halloween Extravaganza, and we're doing something a little bit differently here. So if you've been listening to us for a little while, you know we do like a big mega packed, either double or triple feature for Halloween time. And Randy, Justin, and myself have all handpicked a triple feature. They all have their own separate themes, and you guys are going to be voting on theme alone. And whatever wins, then the three movies will be revealed to you guys. So the three themes you're going to be voting between are Psycho Killer Qu'est-ce que c'est, They Dwell Within, and Eat the Rich.
Whoa, Bob. First week of September. How are those numbers looking?
They Dwell Within is winning.
Wow, the sexy pick, huh? They dwell within.
I'm about to dwell within. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying.
It depends on what part of the rich we're eating.
Whoa, that's a good call, Randy. It could be political. It could be sexual.
What is the butthole? Are you the butthole?
But I guess that's just politics in general, eh, boys?
Yeah, politics is eating a lot of butt for sure.
It's just eating butt. Rich butt. Yeah, Psycho Killer.
It looks like it won't be musical, I guess.
No, it's just eating the shit of rich people.
Manja. Psycho Killer, Keska saying Eat the Rich are almost tied. So get your votes in before the end of September, and we'll see what 3 movies we're talking about this October. In other Patreon news, we just dropped a mini cast last Friday on a movie called Watcher that just hit Shudder. And we're going to be doing something somewhat new here. We're actually going to drop a brand new mini cast every Friday throughout the months of September and October this year.
Oh my God. Are we insane?
Yes. Yes, we are.
Are we good to our listeners? Yes.
Never. Absolutely not. We're doubling down every week throughout September and October. That means we're dropping a new minicast this Friday. We're talking, actually, Juice, you did this one. You talked about a movie called Glorious that just hit Shudder last week.
Yes. So this is an interesting movie. It's got J.K. Simmons in it.
Sex.
And it is kind of about a haunted glory hole.
Oh, no. I've had nightmares like this.
I often haunt glory holes.
I'm not really exaggerating, except it's hard to describe. It's not necessarily haunted, but there is something sinister on the other side of a glory hole.
But
I don't.
That's no different than normal.
I don't want to spoil exactly what kind of creature it is, but yeah, that's the premise.
I'm gonna go with a bear.
And it's actually, it's all this entire movie takes place in a rest stop, and most of it at a rest stop bathroom. So yeah, that's the premise.
God, what a time to be alive.
J.K. Simmons is in this film. He is the other side of the glory hole, and it's interesting. It's got a little bit of a black comedy kind of feel to it.
Oh, no way. You think so? It's not a straight.
It's very serious.
The glory hole movie.
It's a 3-hour dramatic thriller.
The other side of the
compared
glory
to Schindler's
hole
List
is definitely
very cinematic.
It's definitely what?
Our memoir, The Other Side of the Glory
On
Hole.
On the warm side of the glory hole.
Damn, on the warm side, huh?
You want to be on the warm side, I assure you.
So
I don't know if I do.
Slam that into your ear holes, dropping this Friday on our Patreon website. In other Patreon news, we got a brand new Patreon supporter we got to give mad shouts outs to. Big thanks to Truman G for signing up and showing us some love. Every dollar you guys contribute goes right back into the show. It really does help us keep things going, and we appreciate the hell out of it. So as is tradition around these here parts, we owe Truman the straight chillin' salute. This one goes out to you, my guy.
Slap my ass.
Slap my ass.
Thanks, Truman.
Thank you. That's my favorite part of the show. Thank you for contributing to it.
We did
They ass slapping. Man, this has been the horniest intro we've ever done.
Aren't they all?
Really? I mean, I feel like the past couple months we've all been pretty horny. Bob's talking about banging himself last week.
I mean,
that's true. I'm just talking in the first 5 minutes.
Okay.
This is like the podcast version of Swinging Dong in the credits right here.
A couple months ago, we were talking about selling doo-doo sticks. I mean, we've been all over the place this
I
summer.
don't even remember that thing.
I don't know that either. I don't know what you're talking
It was
about.
that documentary about that band and that old man who sticks drumsticks up his ass.
Yeah, he does do that. He does do that.
Let's move forward, not backward.
If you want to know what the fuck we're talking about, check out Jason X.
Yeah, Remembering Ralph has something to say.
We did reopen the You Pick the Flick tier this past Sunday, and I want to congratulate the 5 people that were able to lock down a You Pick for the 4th quarter of 2022. Congratulations to Dongster Sam, Nate S., Hydraberg, G-Baby, and Jacqueline for locking those down.
Whoa, congratulations. How fast did they go this time, Bob?
It's like 2 minutes or something, like crazy fast, you know?
It was very quick.
Well, that's pretty slow, actually.
We expect more from our listeners. Ooh.
I thought 10 seconds fly, you know?
I thought y'all gave a shit. I guess not.
Yeah,
Oh.
I guess y'all don't like this podcast. Okay.
We really are not in a position to be negging our listeners.
I guess you'll never be able to buy those doo-doo sticks.
I'll just sit in my freezer for eternity.
My freezer, damn.
Frozen shit sticks. 69.
Now there's a bump.
Yeah, that's all I got. You guys have anything you want to mention?
Before the next episode drops, so it's not going to be the week of this episode coming out, but it's going to be before our next episode comes out. We're going to have a brand new video popping up on YouTube. This is kind of different. This is not something we've ever really posted before, but it is an interview that was done. We didn't do it, but we were there for it with Corey Taylor, the lead singer of Slipknot and Stone Sour. He was talking about like horror movies, his horror preferences and stuff like that. He also talks a little bit about his band's new music and also, kind of the death of some of his band members has happened over the past few years, at least, or whatever. It was a pretty interesting interview. I never really heard the guy speak before, but it was interesting. So I've got that recorded. I'm going to post it up on YouTube so everyone can kind of enjoy it. I looked and I didn't see it anywhere. And so he talks about some pretty interesting stuff. I thought people would be interested in that. And it's horror related. So yeah, that'll be going up on our YouTube page sometime early next week.
Awesome.
Around here, that means big money.
Yes, sir.
Good shit. Yeah, check that out. I think our house is clean.
This house is clean.
Box me, Bob.
Oh, I'm going to box you, all right. We're getting into the main event, talking about the gift. Let's kick it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
Bob, do you have this box?
Got it right here, the blue box.
Bob, do you have this tiki mug?
I have the Jason Bateman finger penis tiki mug. I do have that.
Do you have a monkey tiki mug?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't. I have like a zombie mug that kind of, I guess you could interpret it as a monkey face, but it's not really.
Can I pet peeve about the cover of that real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Why the fuck they have to plop that giant ass Rotten Tomatoes right in the middle of the goddamn thing?
Yeah, no,
oh, damn. I didn't even see that, to be honest.
It's
all I can see.
It's ruining our game. We know it's fresh.
Oh, damn.
We know it's fresh.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ. Put it in the corner at least. Jesus, it does not need to be right fucking
in
there.
the middle. Yeah,
it's the size of the actors' heads. It's so big.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you pointed that out, Randy. So Bob didn't have an unfair advantage. He wouldn't have even told me, I bet.
He wouldn't.
How dare.
I bet he wouldn't have.
How would I know to complain about this?
Fucking Bob wouldn't even tell me it was certified fresh.
I would just say, oh, yeah, it's certified fresh. I might get that hell heat. I'm going to go high. I'm going to go high on it.
Now I know what it is. We're talking The Gift from 2015.
Barely.
Thanks again, Alex, for picking this flick for us to review. This is written and directed and also starring Joel Edgerton. It also stars Jason Bateman and Rebecca Hall. Plot synopsis brought to you by the back of the box is as follows. Jason Bateman, Joel Edgerton, Rebecca Hall star in a chilling psychological thriller that asks the question, can you really go through life having never wronged anyone? Simon and Robin are a young married couple whose life is going as planned until a chance run-in with Simon's high school acquaintance sends their world into a tailspin. At first, Simon doesn't recognize Gordo, but after a series of uninvited encounters and mysterious gifts prove troubling, a horrifying secret from the past is uncovered after more than 20 years. As Robin learns the unsettling truth about what happened between Simon and Gordo, she starts to contemplate, how well do we really know those closest to us? us. And are bygones ever really bygones? There's so many questions.
I've always been a creeper.
So many questions.
I've got so many bygones. It's almost just a curve.
Guys, my bygones are never bygones.
Whatever I say.
Justin is just talking.
What's my famous quote on here?
What's
my
famous quote?
Hey, will you guys quote me at me real quick?
What do you think my most famous quote is?
I want your opinion. What do you think?
What's your favorite?
Fuck you.
Fuck you. General Mangs, had we seen this movie before, and would we recommend people check it out? Randu? Oh, Juice, why don't you kick us off?
Randy got too much swig of the old pumpkin over there.
Yeah.
Oh, that went down the wrong pipe.
Got a mouthful of gourd. Yeah.
I had never actually seen this movie before. I was like aware of it. But damn, Randy. But I'd never seen it. And I think this is a pretty well crafted film. It's got a lot of twists and turns. It's kind of like a dramatic thriller feel to it a little bit. I wouldn't say it's like horror all throughout, but this is one of those films that plays into kind of like real life anxieties, at least for me. You know, it's set pretty straight as like this could plausibly happen. Kind of home invasion type stuff we're dealing with. And so it made me like very uncomfortable a lot of the times. And that's something we'll get into. But yeah, I would generally recommend people check it out, but it's not like the easiest watch. And it's also not the most like thrilling thing ever. You know, it's a little bit slow at times. So, but generally I think it's well crafted. Yeah. Bob, how do you feel about The Gift? Had you seen this before?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw this once before when it first came out. I think I watched it with Randy, actually. So this is a second time round for me. And I dig this movie quite a bit. It's not like a bombastic kind of thriller, but it's more of like a slow simmer, like not quite a full boil. You know, it's like right underneath the surface, you know, shit's not quite right, and you just feel it in your gut, and the movie lets you sit with that for a while, and it's unsettling in a very effective way. I dig on this movie a good bit, and I would say if you are into, you know, just general thrillers, I guess, you're gonna enjoy this. I would think I think it's a win for old Blumhouse. Randu, what about you?
Yeah, as you said, I first watched this with you, I believe. I mean, it must have been right after it came out on home video.
Yeah,
in 2015. Because I remember like watching this movie, really liking it, and it constantly being sitting on top of the bubble of choices when we were choosing our own movies. I was constantly toying with the idea of picking this movie. And its pacing is largely one of the reasons I didn't, because I wasn't sure everybody would get down on that. No, certainly not in our crew at the time. But yeah, I definitely recommend this movie. It is certainly not a strict horror movie by most people's standards. I would say it falls more cleanly into the thriller genre, psychological thriller genre. And it isn't like the quickest paced thing in the world. But for me, I was on the edge of my seat for like the third time, I've watched this at least 3 times now. And every time, like I give it enough space between where I've forgotten some of the specifics, and it's given me, you know, a lot of the same revelations, and I've really enjoyed that about it. And I just largely would recommend this movie. I think it's a very effective movie at what it's attempting to do.
The space between the wicked lies within.
It's funny to think about when we would pick movies, because I had like a going list too. What do I pick? And we've just never covered them. You know, we'll never get to Freddy vs. Jason.
They're lost to time until some kind soul like Alex, right?
Yes,
Alex. I almost whiffed that. Like a kind soul like Alex comes along to patronize us with a wonderful pick like this one.
Thank you for signing up on our OnlyFans there, Alex, and patronizing us, and you know.
If only.
So, sounds like a pretty solid recommendation from the Straight Chilling crew here. Let's go ahead and drop that spoiler warning and get into the rest of the movie. Here we go.
Spoiler warning.
Bob, do you have this plot synopsis? And do you think there's a market out there for us on OnlyFans?
Yes, and absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of people that need dick ratings, Juice.
Nothing but finger penises, just as far as the eye can see, baby. Just
okay. My mind's
look at
pondering.
this finger. Just look at it. Look at it dangling.
I'll be stroking.
Maybe.
I got the old plot synopsis. I'll blast through it real quick.
Please do.
Married couple Simon and Robin, they relocate to Los Angeles after Simon takes a new job. The two run into an old friend, Gordo. Gordo starts dropping by their home unannounced and leaving gifts like wine and some koi fish for their pond. They have an awkward dinner party, and Gordo repays the favor by inviting them over to dinner at his place. He has a very large, impressive house. Strangely, Gordo has to run out and handle a work issue, abandoning his guests in his living room. Upon his return, he says he lied. He actually had to go out and talk to his wife, who recently left him and took his kids. Simon confronts Gordo and asks him to stop coming around and to leave them alone. The next day, Robin finds their koi fish dead and their dog is missing. Simon goes back over to the house to confront Gordo and discovers the house doesn't belong to him, but instead belongs to his employer. Robin begins to suspect she isn't alone in the house. She finds faucets turned on and she hears footsteps. She then finds a note Gordo left agreeing to leave them alone, and it mysteriously alludes to something that happened between him and Simon in the past. Simon claims he has no idea what it is. Simon's up for promotion at work and finds out his only competition is that son of a bitch Danny McDonald. Robin becomes increasingly paranoid at the house and ends up fainting. As time passes, Robin becomes pregnant, and the couple are doing very well. Simon's sister comes to visit and tells Robin that Simon and his friend reported Gordo was molested by an older boy in the back of a car in high school, causing him to be bullied and transferred to another school. Robin seeks out that other friend, Greg, who then tells her the molestation was a complete fabrication and Simon made it up. It also led to Gordo's father thinking he was gay, and he tried to burn him alive, which led to his arrest and Gordo being sent to military school. Robin confronts Simon, and he denies the story, but he also finds Gordo to apologize against his will. Gordo realizes the apology is insincere, and Simon beats his ass. Simon gets promoted and has a celebration at his house where Danny McDonald shows up. Danny McDonald shows up and assaults him. Danny claims Simon lied to their bosses about his work history, causing him to be passed over for the position. Robin goes into labor and gives birth to a boy. Simon gets fired for being dishonest, and Robin says she wants to separate. Simon leaves the hospital, goes home to shower, where he finds one final gift consisting of 3 parts.
It's a gift.
The 3 parts are keys to his house, a CD recording of the conversation he and Robin had at their dinner party, and finally a DVD of Robin fainting and a man in a monkey mask straddling her in bed, alluding to sexual assault and the possibility that the baby does not belong to Simon. Gordo goes to see Robin at the hospital and tells her Simon beat him up. Simon returns to the hospital and is called by Gordo, who won't confirm whether or not he did rape Robin. Simon breaks down in the hospital hallway as Gordo watches in satisfaction. He then removes the sling from his arm and walks away.
I want to play a game. I want to play a game, Bateman.
Most people don't appreciate the gifts I get them. They don't like fish.
I want to give your wife a gift.
Bob,
Sorry. I'm sorry.
You have been on a hot streak of deviance.
I am a hot streak.
That's what was said.
That's what he said.
Oh, hot streak, Bob. I've said it a million times.
Finger penis juice. That's his nickname.
Man, you really stuck on the finger penis thing.
Yeah.
In that scene where Bateman is like acting like a complete asshole.
Oh, I'm weirdo, Gordo.
He's so good at it that it makes me wonder if he is like a little weird in real life. Like it's too believable almost. Is that just
He does a good job in this film.
He's so good in this.
He does.
He is like, he toes this perfect line between like being an unrepentant piece of shit and being able to play it off as being like, it's just talk, It's
Like he
does a great job at concealing himself, and it only like over the course of the film do you really start to get a full breadth of understanding of how much of a piece of shit he really is.
And actually, since we're talking about that, let's segue into one of the major points I really want to talk about. I was going to kind of save it for later, but I really appreciate the setup of this film in the kind of gray area that it sets our main players up in. And I'm talking about Gordo, Robin, and Bateman, where each one of them has some kind of flaw problem. And each one of their like situations seem to kind of lead to this awkwardness, this problem but amongst them or whatever. But as it goes on, I was kind of a little disappointed at how far they then just leaned into how big of a piece of shit Bateman is. Because then it kind of took a little bit of that ambiguity away, a little bit of that kind of like gray area away, and really was just like, you should hate this guy until we get the flip at the end, you know? And I wanted to pose the question. If the scene with Danny, okay, where Danny busts in the house and we find out that, this guy threw him under the bus or whatever, made up stories, lied about him to get a promotion. If that was cut, if that storyline was cut, would you be more kind of understanding or sympathetic to Bateman's character if that wasn't a part of his character?
Wait, so when you're saying that, do you mean as if we had no idea that he did or would have done anything like that?
Like if that thread was cut from this film, if there was no scene about Danny and him throwing somebody else
just
under
he
the
got
bus,
a promotion, that's it.
So yeah, if it's just the story of these three people and how it plays out every other piece otherwise, except for the Danny piece, which really just drives home the piece that, Bateman is a huge piece of shit. If that's cut, would you feel differently about this character?
No.
Okay.
I agree with Rob.
Not really.
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel differently. I think it's useful in that it is a way for us to see Gordo. And this is maybe based on a fan theory of my own, I guess, and you guys can tell me if you saw the same thing or if I'm just, extrapolating, but I took it to be, that character of whatever McDonald, he got this email, right? He saw this email that Jason Bateman wrote about him to the people hiring that would have fired him. It got him fired at this place based on fabricated bullshit. Now, how did he get that email? Gordo is my answer to that. And so I think it's just another prong of Gordo exacting revenge on this guy and like just basically taking everything away from him the way that it was taken from him initially. And I don't there's a whole conversation to be had about whether or not there's any heroes in this movie, but setting that aside for a second, I think that it's valuable for that reason, but I don't think that if you took it out, I would feel that differently about him because the whole time it's very obvious that he's gaslighting the shit out of his wife the whole time. And even if you exclude that, there's all the shit he did involving Gordo. I would maybe have a little bit of sympathy for him. Like in terms of like, okay, yeah, if somebody left these psalms on my windshield, maybe I would look into a restraining order or something like that. But I would tell my wife and I wouldn't lie about it. And I wouldn't lie about my history that you could argue he forgot initially, but you can't argue that he forgot it all the way through because he knew and he got that information. Sure. I don't think there's any way around that. You're a piece of shit for what you've done in the past still, but you've grown into a different person who's just a piece of shit in all kinds of new ways. And that is why Gordo is exacting his revenge. It's because he hasn't really changed.
So I think that's more interesting to me though, because the idea, if you take out the Danny piece to me, how I see it is Yeah, like you're right. The whole lie then becomes his problem now. But in that way, everybody kind of has their own problems. And I find that more interesting. So, for instance, in the past, Robin has had a problem with pills, and they moved to a new house and everything. And then she does a kind of similar thing. She's stealing pills from her friend and lying to her husband about it. And it's creating this bit of psychosis that's affecting their marriage as well. So Bateman's lying to his wife, which he shouldn't do. She's stealing pills, which he shouldn't do. And then fucking Gordo's over here busting into people's houses. We don't know how crazy he is yet, but I'm just saying, like, as far as problems that each person is creating to create this tension within the group, everybody kind of has a flaw that's adding to it in some way. But it drives home the fact that, like, see, Bateman is a huge piece of shit because of this Danny thing. But if that was taken out, I would at least be like, I don't know, his actions, except for lying to his wife, but like the restraining order and like the maybe even attacking Gordo and stuff like that might be more understandable.
Now, I mean, I think Robin is the only like innocent character here. I mean, she's flawed for sure, but I mean, like, Bateman ruins this guy's life. He could have fessed up back in the day. He didn't. Maybe he was scared. He was a kid, what have you.
Maybe he was oblivious, because bullies often are.
True.
Yeah,
he's presented with an opportunity to apologize again and like sort of make things right by way of Gordo, and absolutely scoffs at the idea and lies to his wife to avoid even having to like come to that crossroad. And then, it happens anyways. And she forces him to go apologize. And he just ends up beating the shit out of the guy and like doubling down. And I mean, obviously Gordo, like the whole an eye for an eye situation, which is like Gordo's whole character, basically like systematically dismantling Bateman's life, it's not okay for him to do that, but it is at least somewhat understandable that he would want revenge. He's a piece of shit. And, but I mean, like, it's at least somewhat understandable, like why he would want to exact his revenge,
See, I'm on the flip side of what Bob just said, where Bob's saying like, I can understand Gordo. Okay. If the Danny part is taken out, I can actually understand Bateman better. Okay. Because you're right. He did ruin somebody's life, but he might be oblivious. And there's kind of hints that maybe he is initially. But the problem is when you said, he beats the shit out of him, you have to remember that's after this guy has showed up at his house with his wife being alone several times, lied to them, got them to come to a house, stole his dog, killed his fish. Like, I would be so on a personal level. If somebody kept showing up to my house and I expressed to my wife, like, this person makes me uncomfortable, I don't really like this person, I don't really want to communicate with them, and then I came home again and my wife had like invited him in under tense situations, but invited him in and like invited him for dinner, I would be pretty irritated at that situation, mostly at the guy. But also, Robin just keeps like feeding into this relationship. Like, you need to talk to this guy. You need to understand. I'm like, don't just invite this stranger into your house waiting for your husband to come home. That's not great either.
She does that thing that we've mentioned on the podcast several times where like you're too polite to a point where you start to put yourself in danger because you're afraid of being impolite. And Robin does have that going on a little bit here, and like she doesn't know what Gordo's capable of, and at that point none of us really do. I will circle back to one thing that you said real quick. I don't buy the fact that Bateman doesn't know what happened to Gordo, because everybody else seems to, and it was like, quote, a very big news story, like I think his sister says. That's true. It's like, if his sister knows all about it, how the fuck does he not? Like, I don't really.
Well, his sister has stayed in that city,
but I don't know, man. I don't know.
That is a good point, though. She's like, yeah, it's for a small town. It was big news. And he directly caused that. Like, I think that's a good point.
He probably does. Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. I don't feel that way about Robin. To me, Robin is like I'm not going to agree that she's innocent necessarily or anything. And I think she probably is maybe a little too polite. But I think some of that is out of, like, something of a self-preservation. Like when she tells him to go, you need to apologize to this guy and actually get the hatchet buried so that I can sleep at night. That is a matter of pragmatism for her. Like this is what's going to make me comfortable, is you coming clean with me and this guy, and then just burying this hatchet and letting it go away. And instead of doing that, he's too prideful to do that, because as he states in this movie, Jason Bateman, I mean, he says there are winners and losers in the world. And he is outright a manipulative, like psychopathic piece of shit. It just conceals it very well. So like, that's the thing. That's the key difference to me, is like, while I can sympathize to some extent with everybody in this movie, I think it's easier to sympathize with Gordo to a certain extent than it is to Jason, because their fundamental operating systems are based on two entirely different things. One is a man who is damaged by another guy when he was a child to a point where he was almost burned alive by his own father. And the other is this piece of shit who is willing to lie and manipulate anybody and anything so that he can quote unquote win at life. He does not care about anyone but himself and maybe Robin.
Hang on, though. That's a pretty extreme claim. And I was like, that Gordo is more sympathetic. He potentially raped somebody to get back at somebody else. I mean, I know that Bateman is, a piece of shit. And I feel like they lean on the gas like that scene where there are winners and losers. Like, I was like, keep it a little bit more like tone. I like the little bit more ambiguity, the grayness area. But somebody who makes up a story as a child who doesn't know the effects it's going to have versus a grown person making decisions and breaking into somebody's house, drugging them, raping them is more sympathetic.
Don't yell at me, man. I agree with you. And I've been pointing at that since the beginning. We just have been talking about Bateman's character specifically.
Yeah.
And when you talk about Gordo, I'm saying that I can sympathize with what makes him tick, but not what he does. What he does is outright fucked up. Even if he doesn't rape this woman, all of it's fucked up. He is a twisted, and he's a villain. He is a villain in this movie, and he's just positioned the thing. That's what I'm pointing to when I talk about their modus operandi. The thing that makes both of them tick. That's what I'm pointing at. The thing that makes Jason Bateman's character tick is just craven self-promotion. The thing that makes Gordo tick, and the thing that makes Gordo tick is damage. And it's easier for me to empathize with one of those two things. That does not mean that I agree with either of their actions. And I do not certainly agree. Like, out of everything that's happened in this movie, I think that what's really interesting is watching it this time is that Robin is just this fucking horribly used pawn in this little dick measuring contest between these two guys in their past. This little chess game that's been playing out, simmering in the background, like Gordo's whole life anyway. And this had been totally rear-viewed by Jason Bateman. It just comes into the situation where she is just manipulated to the point where she might not know who the father of her child is. Yeah. And I don't think that Gordo raped her. Based on the way he interacts with her, I feel pretty confident that what all he's doing, it's exactly what happened to him. People aren't sure whether he could tell people he wasn't molested, but maybe he was.
Yeah.
And it's that seed of doubt that he wants. It's not the actual rape.
I agree with Randy. There is an alternate ending to this movie where he does reveal that he did not rape Robin. I think it's more interesting to leave it ambiguous, but he does. Yeah. There's a line he says at the end of the movie that I think really does show his cards a little bit. He says, see what happens when you poison people's minds with ideas. Just planting that seed of doubt that in Bateman's mind, maybe that kid is not mine, is just absolutely wrecking his life, amongst other things. Yeah. But I think that's really what he's going after here.
I think so too, because it really plays out in the same way as kind of like the dog situation. Okay. He kills the fish, which he gifted, and fish are a lot more you don't want to kill anything, but fish are a lot more you don't cuddle a fish and then they don't look at you and love you.
Maybe you
but
don't.
Well, I'm just
It's the
okay.
cold side of the door.
But the fish, but the dog, that's more personal. But he leaves the dog alone. He doesn't hurt the dog. He doesn't send him pieces of the dog or whatever. But he still sends those letters to let him know, like, I'm still involved in your life. So I tend to agree that he didn't rape her. But since they leave it ambiguous, you have to discuss that possibility.
Yeah, and whether or not he did that, he still bugged their house, like ripped off this guy's home. Like we know that he took that dog, even though there's no real proof of that. The things that we know he did are enough to call him an undisputed piece of shit in my eyes, anyway. In terms of like you are the actions you take, not what's hidden underneath necessarily. You have to take accountability for the things he's done. And I think he's perfectly happy with the things he's done, which is worse. And that makes him, to me, on the same level as Bateman. It's just coming from a different concern. So that's what's interesting about it to me. And like Robin, to the extent that she like overexerts herself to make peace, I think that is a good instinct that is happening between two toxic individuals that cannot get past their own hang-ups or what has happened to them and see what it's doing to her. And like that it's unreasonable to bring this woman's life crashing to a halt as a de facto method of revenge or as a method of I don't know, like just getting a trophy wife, whatever it is that these guys want out of her. It's always a move in this movie. And I just feel so bad for her the whole time, even with her pill problem. Like the gaslighting that goes on between her and her husband is fucking next level shit. It is so painfully obvious especially on multiple viewings, how much he's manipulating her. And it's so hard to watch and just then have her like one fatal flaw, which is, oh, you're an unreliable narrator because you had a pill problem and you do pills. That makes it interesting as a viewer, but it makes it so fucking hard for her to nail this guy. And I was so fucking thrilled at the end of this movie when she's like, I don't want to be with you. Period. And I was like, thank God.
Well, I like it too. Well, so that's what I'm saying. I really like the first part of this movie where it's more of a balancing act. Because again, technically Bateman was right. When he's like, if you just take the beginning of this film, minus like the gaslighting and there are winners and losers speech and stuff like that. If you're taking of like, there's this guy, okay, and we just kind of bump into him. And he keeps showing up at the house and he's like, he's weird. And Robin wants to defend that. And I kind of am a little bit more sympathetic in this way because I feel like of the friend group, I'm always like the kind of paranoid one of like, these people are weird. And like Rob particularly, so it's like, people are wonderful. They're so great. Everyone's wonderful. But just like in general, but technically like Bateman's correct. And seeing something in somebody that other people can't see where you're kind of worried about it, is maybe just a little bit more sympathetic to my own emotions. Well, where I'm like, maybe technically Bateman was correct. This dude is a huge creeper who has serious nefarious intentions for Robin, but she can't see that. She just went, oh, he's a good guy. He set up our TV.
Bateman knows what he did to him and he's right to be
That's true. If he was honest. Yeah, if he was honest, then it really truly would have protected his wife.
Third eye situation where you can see through people. He just knows he fucking ruined this dude's life, and he's suspect that he's
and he might be out for revenge. Also, and he doesn't want that reminder of his deeds hanging around, especially around his wife. So, to me, I think that you have to ignore a lot of Bateman to get to that point, and I think that I can understand that point of view from like a visceral level. Like if you don't want to be around somebody and your wife or significant other or whatever is interested in like having them around or is more amenable to them, then that's when you be honest with them. Like, look, there's some bad blood here.
That's true.
I can't have this guy around. It makes me upset. If he shows up again, that scares me. Could we not do this? And that's true. I don't think that she honestly, that's the thing that I'm getting a little bit hung up on here is I don't see her as doing a ton of that. The major line she draws is where she's like, you need to go apologize to this guy or else I'm not going to sleep at night, which I think is not what I would do, but an understandable reaction for her. But earlier on, I think it's just a matter of maybe a little overly polite, but nothing crazy. The guy showed up twice before I don't know. And then the dog thing,
he left a gift.
That's another gaslighting thing. Yeah,
he left a gift at their home without them giving his address or contacting him. Okay, that's what
they say.
Then he showed up like 2 or 3 times, knowing the wife was alone, and invites them to a dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And that was I was thinking about that too, because he obviously sets up the situation where he's recording the house. It's not his house. So he set up that situation where he's recording them in somebody else's house. And I kept thinking about, he was going to feed them. Like, he was like, okay, let's have dinner. I was like, was he planning on drugging her that night or something like that? I don't know. I wasn't
maybe.
sure.
I didn't think about that. But like, the thing is, like, you can't, like, we don't know that until later. I'm just going from her perspective as she's traversing through the movie. I think her reaction to stuff is maybe I don't think it's so egregiously overly forgiving. I think it's fair for her to sit there and be a little bit, especially like having, heard some of the things this guy says about things. Like, I don't know, some of the ways this guy is talking. The fact that he's in the military, the fact that he's clearly like a damaged person. And I think it's okay to be sympathetic to that and to be understanding of somebody having like social foibles. Being an awkward person isn't a crime. And if your husband is especially being a dick to him, about him, especially in private company and talking shit about this dude, like to an pretty extreme degree for mixed company, I can see being a little defensive. Like, hey, you're being kind of an asshole about this guy. Like, he's creepy maybe a little bit, but he's like, we don't have any reason to think, they have no reason to think that he's going to steal their dog or is recording them or any of that shit. He's just showing up slightly like an opportune time. Here's an example of something. The other day, we have a new neighbor, and our new neighbor the other day, like we told all of our neighbors, hey, we've got a bunch of tomatoes that we harvested. We don't have enough space for them. Come on over. We'll give you some tomatoes. We have too many. And one of our new neighbors, like, oh yeah, I'll come by. And so I was like, all right, come on down whenever. And he didn't knock. He kind of knocked and then walked in. And I was like, Becky and I were both like, ooh, this isn't a dorm.
Did he have his finger penis out? He was coming at you all diddly?
But the thing is, like, I don't want to prejudge that as being anything other than a faux pas. Like, I don't want to assume that
to him.
No, he left, and if it happens again, it's not going to happen.
He came in and took tomatoes out of your house without you being there?
No, we were there. No, we were there. That's what was not great about it, honestly.
Totally
because we were relaxing, and like there was like a tap open door.
It's like the 69.
I can see in my mind the logic that will lead somebody to do that, but it's not, to my mind, the right thing to do, and I think it's pretty unnerving. And we have different locks now, not because of that, but it helps. And so, like, I don't know, like, I don't presuppose anybody's done anything untoward. That's the thing, is like, I don't want one mistake to be the defining characteristic of my relationship with a person, unless it continues to be a problem. And so I think Robin, I feel like I think that's just a difference in our personalities, and that's fine.
It is. And I think that's why I'm kind of like more anxious about this film, because my personality is more to keep a general barrier between people until they earn my trust. I'm going to like keep them at a distance until I'm like, now I can invite this person into my house. But somebody showing up 2-3 times without me inviting them, I would be upset. I would get mad. Yeah, like, sure. I would probably do this. Like, even as mad as you. Even going to a house and then him being like, "Oh no, people aren't here," and then him being like, "What Bateman does?" I would be like irate. Actually, I would be like, "Dude, do not contact me again. Do not fucking call me again, you weird piece of shit." I probably would say something like that.
How would your reaction change if you had caused his father to almost murder him?
Now that is the biggest thing, and that's why I kind of like the dance around this, like, because even when Robin passes out, she's taking pills, and I like the idea of like, are you paranoid, about this or whatever? And adding that idea of, is she an unreliable narrator because, she's taking this thing. And even this insistence before the whole I feel scared thing, where she's like, you need to apologize, or you need to do this thing with him. You lied to your friend, or whatever she's doing. I was like, well, you're like stealing from your friend. I like this kind of like idea idea that they're like, she's not completely, she's hanging out with this woman. She's stealing from her. She's taking her prescription pills. There are a whole bunch of different ones, and she's had this problem before in Chicago, to the point where it seems like in some ways it kind of maybe ruined her business and in some ways ruined their lives. They had to move from Chicago. It seems like, we don't have the details.
I took the impression that they had a problem with fertility, but maybe it was both, or maybe it was just one. I don't know. But I want to point this out. Well, he
says when he gives the pills, he says, I thought we put all of this behind us. We dealt with all this in Chicago, and I'm really sad to see this happening again. So I know, but that just could point to addiction, period. Also, and that's the thing is, you're pointing to the behavior of an addict and them stealing a few pills from their friends, which is not good and not a good thing to do, and is a self-destructive activity for somebody who is obviously anxious and an addict. But that is not anywhere near the same level as the sins of Jason Bateman. And I don't see them as comparable. I know, but that position is presented before we know how deep of a piece of shit.
Who's to say that she would be stealing these pills if she wasn't feeling so damn stressed out and anxious about the situation that Jason Bateman has created, Yeah.
But I don't think she steals the pill until she steals the pills. The scene of her stealing pills happens even before the dog situation. So I don't know if I necessarily buy that.
But she's an addict. That's the thing. Is you can have that flaw.
I saw it as a true kind of character flaw for her, which I liked. I liked it. People feeling more, not just this is the good guy, this is the bad guy.
Devolving into your addictions, that's that is a flaw that's worth considering or whatever. But it's not, to me, it's what's brilliant about that is what you just said, is it gives some unreliable narratorness to her a little bit. It makes you feel even as somebody who's watched it again, it makes you understand how she is able to be gaslit by Jason Bateman, who is just so fucking brilliantly acting this role to the point where it's he seems totally believable. All this shit, he lies in he is caught in lies that are huge, and he says them with such confidence. I mean, there's nothing about him that when he speaks, it's like what she says, if somebody lies to you enough, you just stop believing anything they say. That works perfectly for him, because what he was saying to her was totally believable, except she knew otherwise, except she saw the file folders.
That's some creepy shit. I have a dossier on both of y'all, actually.
I've had it since day
you don't have the storage
of when we met.
Randy's done so much.
I got
so much bullshit. His file is like an encyclopedia. It's just.
I've got the Dennis Reynolds file on all you guys. This one's Randy, but I'd rather go over Bob first. You can see it's a lot thicker.
Anyway.
He's got a lot of deviance. So
I don't know. This is an interesting. This is an interesting movie overall. It's just kind of I really like that it's ambiguous, but it doesn't leave you hanging either. I like some movies to end completely ambiguously. I like others to end with a little bit of secrecy, and then I like others to be just rock hard facts. And this one is in that lovely gray area that fits perfectly with the level of realism at play, because it's one of those things where it's real life doesn't always give you every single answer, and that is what has caused so much of the damage here, and that is what the revenge is. It's just a perfect way to tie it up. So
this movie brought out a lot of real uncomfortable but emotions for me. I you hated even the ending. I was wow, that is a pretty powerful ending, but it made me feel disgusting, because I hated that Robin, like you said, was used as a pawn between these two people. She has no, she's trying to have a baby. The greatest days of her life. She has to deal with already separating from her husband just because he's a piece of shit. She doesn't even know the depths of it necessarily, but now her just being used upon that made my stomach sink, and I hated that kind of feeling. But also too, when that guy Danny, the scene, so I think I like the more gray ambiguity as if they cut that out. I truly felt like they leaned a little too hard into Patrick Bateman is an absolutely huge piece of shit. See this. I thought that was a little too heavy on the gas, but that scene where Danny does show up and he's like pleading, he's already lost his life and his job because this man, and now he's kind of made a reactionary decision, and now he's really living with the effects of, oh my God, the police are coming. This man has truly, absolutely ruined my life completely. That made my stomach sink too. When he was like pleading, like, oh no, I was like, oh my God, like you're just living your life. Some guy comes along, completely fucks you, not just out of your promotion, but out of your job, and you get fucking pissed and like, get mad about it. And then now maybe you're going to jail. You're like, fuck, that made my stomach sink too.
Absolutely.
I like that whole plot line in this movie because it just shows various ways that like bullying can show itself, and like it's interesting to think about like this Jason Bateman character being a bully like as a teenager in high school, and then him growing up and sort of like
Patrick,
like honing.
I called him Patrick.
Oh,
I know. I've been doing that.
I called him Patrick Bateman. Yeah,
he's a Patrick Bateman-esque motherfucker in this.
A little bit, yeah.
But in this one, he definitely is. He has a lot more crossover.
Seeing how a bully can like change how they bully people and like sort of sharpen their skills, and how it presents itself, and like how he bullies his wife, and like how he like bullies his coworkers, and like completely ruins another person's life, showing that he truly has learned nothing from what he's done in his past. Doesn't give a shit, no regard for anybody but himself.
Small counterpoint. I will say this. When he is caught in the lie in front of the guy who definitely holds his career in his hands and his wife who's already suspicious of his lies, he can already see, I think, I have a hard time telling if it's the wheels turning and the how do I get myself out of this bear trap situation, or if it's just maybe a little bit of a lesson learned that he lets the guy go, which is self-incriminating. That is a way that for sure, if you're not going to let him go after doing that shit, unless
you're guilty,
unless you feel guilty about if you know why he's doing it.
Yeah,
exactly.
So like there's that. And then also that's not what he would have done. That's not what he did for Gordo. Like he did not offer the same grace to Gordo, and look at what happened. And he sees the results of that. So I have a hard time understanding whether or not it's more machinations on his part, more lies, more like, because he doesn't really get another chance to where he can game the system in his favor. At that point, he's in the box, and it's all Gordo's game from that point on.
What's in the box?
Well, and there wasn't, this did have a bit of a Seven feel to me, that kind of twist at the end. But there was another interesting moment too when she goes to see the friend. And I noticed, I kind of put this little connection together. When she goes to see Greg, I think it is, the chiropractor or whatever.
Roy.
Roy from The Office. So when she's seeing Roy, there's at their previous dinner, Gordo says something like, oh, have you talked to any of the old guys? Have you seen Greg or whatever? He's like, really, I haven't seen anybody since high school. And I kind of believe that. And that's why I was thinking like, oh, maybe he truly doesn't know the extent. He probably does. But even his best friend, Greg, like he's not even keeping in contact. He moved away. He did, he moved on with his life. He was a kid. So trying to give some kind of benefit of the doubt. But, Greg says specifically, I've made peace with Gordo, or he says something like where it makes it seem like, he actually engaged with the guy, apologized or worked through the same. And then that's also to what kind of led me to believe again, maybe that's why he knows the finer, deeper details of the situation. Maybe he actually reached out to Gordo and stuff, but it was still interesting because Gordo asked him, have you kept in contact with these guys? And then like Bateman says, no, I haven't. And so I was wondering, like, is that Gordo kind of fishing of like, have you talked to Greg who says like, hey, apologize to Goro. We fucked up. We really did a bad thing. This is what happened in his life. But Bateman's like, no, I don't keep in contact with that guy.
I think that like you're extrapolating quite a bit. That's not unreasonable, but it's not what I got. Like I didn't take him to have ever just crossed paths with Gordo. I think he was just like, to my mind, him saying like, I've made peace with this is me saying I've made peace with my mistakes and I've become a better person, which is not what fucking Jason Bateman had to say on the subject.
Yeah.
He thinks that Gordo's a weirdo and there are winners and losers, and Gordo was a loser that lost and is now pissed off at him and exacting revenge because he's a sore loser at life, which is just narcissism. So I don't know. I just didn't see it that way. And like, to me, I could understand where you might come to that conclusion, but it like one way or the other, the thing is like, based on what Rob pointed out with his sister saying that, and now Roy saying that, like I have a lot of reason to think that, Jason Bateman may not remember, may be oblivious to the extent of how far the wrongdoing took Gordo and how much of his life was ruined before he did that background check anyway. Maybe he's not fully aware, but he knows enough. He knows that he wronged this guy. And when he reads the lines, bygones be bygones, he's like, I don't know what this means. He knows.
Well, I'm just thinking about, okay, when we were teenagers, okay, there was a guy in Rob's neighborhood that we did some things to. He had a truck and it was a little ridiculous and we did some things. Now, if that guy, if I ran to that guy today and that guy was like, oh my God, my life's I would have no idea.
Well,
and
there's
like,
a difference between like a little practical joke and fabricating a story about someone being molested.
I understand, but do you understand, like, if some reason that guy came up, oh my God, my dad beat me because of that, I'd be like, what?
But you would make peace with that guy.
Sure, I absolutely would.
You wouldn't know that.
Like, I would have no idea.
Here's the thing.
My dad found
is knowing about it.
A little bit of poop on the hood of my car and beat the shit out of me. No, like, why?
See, well, here's the other thing though. Like, does it matter? Does it really matter? If he knows the extent of what happened, what happened, and it happened because of him, and it happened because of his, not just because of what he did, but what he continued to do. He didn't stop lying. He just wandered away and let the lie live. So like, whether or not he's aware of the extent of his wrongdoing, that's a philosophical question that I'm asking. Does it matter? Is he just as culpable? Is he just as deserving as he would have been otherwise? I don't know. Like, and I don't think that I'm not saying that he's necessarily deserving of what happened to him. Don't get me wrong. But like from Gordo's point of view, is like if he doesn't know, is that worse? Maybe because he's so nothing to you as a bully in high school that all you remember is that there's a guy you called weirdo, and then it took a background check for him to even know what he did to you.
Well, I kind of I think this movie's well written because I like the choice that they made in what he did to Gordo, because it's one of those situations, if you said something like, I stole something and I said somebody else stole something. Okay, well, then there's reformation, or then there's like, you could like give it back. Like then are you, but okay, in this situation, he makes up a story about somebody. Okay. And people bully him at school and he's like taking out of school. And then, but like, okay, even if you at that point, once things have happened, even before his dad tries to hurt him, even if you said, okay, I made the whole story up. Okay. There's not really anything that can be done about it anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you can't undo it, but you can stop further. You can stop the lie from making further problems for people.
Yeah, but it's like just not like that clear cut thing where like, okay, we can go back, or like it's going to be erased, or people are going to feel differently about you. People are treating him that way because they're saying like, oh, you're gay or whatever, and they're bullying him and they're abusing him. But even if you told the truth, some people are still going to take that like. People aren't just going to automatically change their perception of
no. But that's not on you anymore. You can't control what other people think. At least not without, like you can, but it takes an act of willfulness to undo the damage in people's minds, to at least give that lifeline to Gordo, him being like, look, my friend, like he made it up. Look, he'll tell you.
I just like the choice that they made because it's not so easy to erase. So, for instance, in the Danny type of situation, if Bateman came out and said, I made all of this up, well, then Danny might actually get his job back and get a promotion. You know, that is actually able to undo the damage that you've done.
But that only is true because he could do it. That's only true if he doesn't let the lie linger for a long time. If it's a year on, his life's already ruined. You can't undo that. You certainly can't undo that.
Sure.
There's only a little bit of window of time for some mistakes or some acts of aggression to be undone. And some things you just can never take back, period. And that's kind of what this movie is it's like, what you can't take it back. All you can do is patch up the hole. And if you refuse to patch up the hole, maybe the hole eventually swallows you the fuck up.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, it is time to land the plane. I think we've covered really just about everything there is to in this movie. If there's anything you want to add, of course, feel free to do so as we wrap up. Juice, why don't you kick us off? Out of 5, how do you feel about The Gift?
Yeah, this one's a little tricky because I think it's really well crafted. I think the acting is done really well. One thing I want to point out, this was wild to me that the character's name was Robin. Something about her face really reminds me of Robin from Stranger Things. She's got like a similar kind of face and like teeth and mouth. I don't know. Something about her looks
the same mouth.
Similar. I don't know. And so her name is also Robin. I was like, are they related? But I think the acting is really good. I think they do a good job of kind of keeping you guessing. I liked the more ambiguous, I kind of feel of the first half where you're like, where there's a lot of questions around everyone. Did Gordo really take the dog? You actually don't really know. You know, is he an actual creeper or not? Should you feel bad for him or not? You know, is all of this because she's taking these pills? Is she paranoid? Is, you know, Bateman actually a huge piece of shit, or is he just kind of like too intense, you know, and not very caring, forgiving type of person? I liked the more gray kind of areas. And when they leaned more into, you know, to the winners and losers, I was like, I get why they need to do that to bring out this character. But I liked the more artful, like, dance between the characters and those feelings. This movie kind of made me like anxious and sick to my stomach in some ways. Like that ending scene where it's like, did she get raped and not know her baby's father? That's terrible. Like that's some real life terrible shit. That's hard to just be like, yeah, I enjoyed this because it's like, it's good in evoking those emotions, but you know, it's not enjoyable to me, you know, and this plays in some of my like real life anxiety spirits, like people just showing up at your house, wanting people to not be there and them just kind of forcing their will upon you. That like really made me anxious. I don't like that kind of shit.
One day I'll have to listen to your review of Mother.
Mother. Oh man, that movie. So, yeah, I don't know, but I mean, I don't have a lot of negatives about this, except for the fact that, like, of my will, I just kind of wish they didn't lean so hard into Bateman being like an absolute huge piece of shit so that his actions are justified when somebody uses another woman like I don't like that feeling of like, yeah, you're getting your just desserts, but it's at the expense of somebody else. Like, made me feel really uncomfortable, but that's effective. So, I mean, I don't know what to do with that. I guess I'll give it, you know, I respect a lot about this film. I'll give it a 4 out of 5, but it makes me really uncomfortable. But that's, I mean, good, you know, but I just don't really want to watch it again, I guess, you know. Anyways, Bob, how do you feel about The Gift? Not 2000 Gift, 2015.
2015 Gift. featuring the Fing Peen from Jason Bateman.
Cannot get over
I really can't. Man. I have a singular focus, and it's that man's digit.
Go watch Pineapple Express and get it out of your system.
Oh, I like this movie quite a bit. It's extremely uncomfortable to watch, and I think these actors absolutely kill it. There's the first time Gordo has dinner over at their house, that he has like maybe one glass of wine too many, and he freaking kills it. Edgerton in that scene, he's just like, that's where he drops the like eye for an eye line, and you kind of get the vibe that maybe he's got some like PTSD or something. Like, you're not quite sure what his deal is yet, but he was in the military and stuff. And that whole like dinner sequence is just like so fucking uncomfortable to watch and so effective. All three of these main players here are killing it, though. Bateman is knocking it out of the park. He's such a creeper, but like keeps it on the DL for the first maybe a half of the movie or so. And then after he like does a half-ass apology and then goes home and he's like hugging Robin and she's asking how it went, and he hesitates for a moment and says like, he was just so thankful. And oh my God, the cringe in that moment is just unbelievable.
I've always been a creeper.
Mm-hmm.
The ending is obviously effective in what it's doing. It's full on nightmare mode for Robin's character, but I mean, I don't know. It's an effective ending. It's very haunting. It's very memorable. And there's nothing like too bombastic really happening. It's just these three players like really, really like honing their crafts and showing up. I don't have really hardly any negatives that come to mind. It's definitely doesn't like sit as a 5 for me, so I'm gonna come in with a 4.5 on the gift. Randu, how do you feel?
Yeah, I feel pretty good about this movie. This is one of those movies where I'm like I said, I give it a lot of like space between viewings because it just doesn't really demand an immediate reviewing to me. And whenever I do, I'm just like, damn, I forgot how fucking good this fucking movie is. Like, there's so much to it. There's, like Justin said, like, there's not a ton that I can point to and say, like, that's a flaw. That is a problem. Even the things that like Justin found to be, a problem for him, I don't agree with a lot of it. Like to me, it's just as a matter of personal opinion. I don't really like, I don't see some of those things the same way. But, I watching it this time, I was just struck with that again. I really feel like Bateman just takes out all the stops. To me, it's like he is the parable of the movie, but it leaves an unsavory taste in your mouth, to Justin's point, knowing that in order for him to get his just desserts, it had to destroy this innocent person whose only sin was just being an addict, a recovering addict, and being on edge because her dog was stolen and a bunch of fish were killed and you caused it. Like, I don't know. There's no, like I was saying earlier, there's one, if there's a hero in this movie, it's Robin. And I don't think that there's really any two ways about it. I don't think Gordo is anything close to a hero. I think that where he's coming from is more sympathetic, but where they both live is in this horrible valley. And so like to me, at least on this viewing, I didn't really see that wide of a gap between him and Bateman. And I don't see the movie as necessarily railing on Bateman harder. It's really just more of like one person has constructed his life around these lies, and the lies come tumbling down. There's some Schadenfreude to that. And it's like, it's well deserved, but it's not deserved to her. And that's what's really stings about the whole thing, is people being used as collateral against each other. The people you care about being used as collateral against you because of something you did in the past. Whether or not you're a piece of shit doesn't matter. That is an effective, horrible thing to watch happen. And it makes it so much worse that you're not the only one that it's happening to. So yeah, I like, it's not a feel good movie, but I will enjoy every second of it, really, because it's so fucking effective. Everybody's on their A game, like Rob said. Like the pacing of this movie is really great, I think. Like, I'm down for a slow burn, and this movie isn't crazy long. It just it just lingers on the beats. It allows the actors to live in the beats, and I think that has a lot to do with how good the performances are, is because they're allowed to live in the moment for any number of minutes. yeah, I don't have a whole lot of negatives about this. I had one in mind, but I can't think of what it was now. But I had determined already that I'm going to go with a 4.5 on this one. It's not quite a perfect movie. There was something in there that I was going to bring up, and I just can't think of it. But if I do,
there was one thing I want to point out, but didn't, is that this dude takes a lot of risks that could easily get him locked up by the police.
Yeah. Okay.
Like breaking into people's houses or like doing that with the people's house, they could easily press charges, then the story would be done.
You know, that man...
or installed a security system.
Gordo, one of the many gifts that he gave them was a burned copy of Apocalypse Now. I mean, take that to the authorities and lock that man up. That is egregious.
Or even just,
simply evil.
If Bateman just takes that DVD to the police... This man's been in jail before. He's going to get he's not going to get a lot of sympathy from the police. Like, he broke into somebody else's house recently.
Well, the thing is, at the end of this movie, this is
groping your wife and showing that he drugged her with their Gatorade.
Exactly. That's actually what I was gonna bring up, which is like this is a pretty hard house of cards for him to keep up at the end of this movie.
Yeah.
All Jason Bateman has to do is like, you can hate me. You can never see me again after this if you want. But watch this DVD that your friend Gordo left at our fucking house of him molesting you, and tell me that I'm the biggest piece of shit in the room. Then tell me that. Yeah, which she might still.
That
but
fucking monkey mask is not chill. Not a fan.
No,
not a fan.
Also, too, when he invites them over to the house, there's monkeys everywhere. I don't know if y'all noticed that.
I didn't notice that.
They're like all over the table. They're like these ceramic monkeys and shit. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tight.
Yep.
Which is weird though, because it's not his house.
Yeah, I guess he just bought a bunch
maybe
of
set him
monkey
up.
shit.
I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe.
He set up monkey,
or maybe
shit.
I don't know. Who knows? But it like all of it works out. He knows that gets under his skin, so it's gotta be.
Gordo, there's monkey shit all over the walls.
There's just monkey
smells
shit
terrible.
everywhere.
It smells absolutely terrible.
I can tell it's monkey shit. My nose is tuned into that. You know,
I got a keen nose.
You got monkey shit in here?
My nose is like a shit sommelier. I know exactly what I'm smelling.
Sub-Saharan.
Oh, this monkey's well fed. Oh my! With Randy's,
a little too much banana in the diet.
Randy's 4.5 is going to put our aggregate at a 4.3. We do have an email from our boy Alex. He sent in his thoughts and his own rating on the gift. Let's go ahead and see what he's got to say.
All right. Good evening, boys. I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to review this brilliant film. Right off the bat, I'm going to say that this is a 4.5 star movie for me. The only reason why it's not a 5 is because the rewatch factor is not really there. Maybe every handful of years, but it's not something you could just put on for the fun of it. But other than that, I have no other qualms with this film. The cast is top notch. The writing and dialogue is cohesive and make for a very engaging watch. Being the directorial debut for Joel Edgerton is bananas. Plus, he steals every scene he's in. Oh, I didn't realize. So the director
He's Gordo.
is
he plays
Gordo.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And he wrote it too, didn't he?
Yeah, he wrote it. Yeah, he's all over it.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Has he done anything else? Sorry to really
He did one other thing. I'll look it up while you're reading.
Okay. Wow. Okay. He comes off naive and innocent, but deep down, something is hiding underneath. But I've got to give it up for old Patrick Bateman. That's Jason Bateman. With his dramatic roles lately, with him in Ozark and the little bit he was in The Outsider. I haven't seen either of those. Have you guys? Ozark or The Outsider?
Ozark, I've seen like maybe 2 seasons of, and he's pretty good in that. I think that came out around the same time as this movie, the first season.
Okay.
And it's definitely in the same vein where he's like, he's no Bluth in that movie.
Okay. Sorry, I keep stopping. You're bringing up a lot of good things here, Alex. I honestly prefer him as a dramatic actor, and in this movie, he really nails it. Of course, we can't forget about Rebecca Hall and the love that she has for taking roles where she's married to a man with batshit crazy secrets. The story is bonkers, and I divert your expectations on if Gordon is the bad guy or really a simply innocent dude. The ending of this movie will never fail to leave my jaw hanging, but also being like, fuck yeah, when Simon gets what's coming to him. When Rise of the Valkyries plays over the CDs, given I can't help but have a grin on my face. Moral of the story, don't be a dick.
Yep.
Or
That's
a
a
man
fair
named
moral.
Gordo will kill your fish, steal your wife, and maybe or maybe not be the actual father of your child. Personally, I don't think he did it though.
Hell
it
of a
was
prank.
yeah, you got me, brah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's just a prank, bro. Up top.
Just come on, brah. Come on.
Come on, man. You
You're
gotta give
taking
it
this
to me.
too
You gotta give it
serious.
to me.
I got you, brah. You should see the look on your face. It was just another psychological pin he put into Simon's mind to mess with him. Thank you guys again for reviewing this film, and hope my thoughts are on the same plane as you guys. Oh God, pleasey wheezy, keep your PPs in your pants. #hard with soju.
Oh man, he's pleasey wheezy. Yeah, he did it. Oof. He did your favorite, Bob. 6 to midnight for Bob.
He gave you what you need, Bob.
I be stroking.
I need it.
To answer that earlier question, directorially, he's only directed one other feature-length film, which was in 2018, and he also wrote it or adapted it from a novel or something. It's called Boy Erased, and it's about Christian K conversion camps. Just Becky had seen it, and apparently it's great. I have not heard of it before. He's written a few other things and done some shorts as a director, but other than that, he's mostly a director. Yeah.
Also, too, that would be weird to write this crazy movie and have this like really piece of shit character and then direct it and be like, I'm gonna be that character. I'm gonna be this huge.
May I
piece of
introduce you to
shit.
Joaquin Phoenix?
Well,
Well, did he didn't write? Did he have a hand in writing?
I don't.
I thought for some reason he did. Okay, bad call. Call back then. Anyway, it's. I mean, playing a villain is fun. I wouldn't hold it against anybody.
I do it every day of my life.
Yeah, I know you do. I play a good guy. I act like a good guy all day.
I'm good. Okay.
I'm
Except
good guy.
that I'm so good. Okay.
Believe me. You must believe me.
You just don't understand how good I am.
Never will. You just have to keep telling us. That's the only way we're going to get it. Gentlemen, it's time for our Rotten Tomatoes segment. Let's see what the critics and users think about The Gift.
Certified fresh to death.
All right, ladies and germs, this is the segment in which I'm going to have these gentlemen guess, to the best of their abilities, what the aggregate positive score is on RottenTomatoes.com for The Gift, and that is both critics and users. Starting, of course, as we usually do, with the critics. I'm going to go over to Juice today to start. Juice, what percentage of the 197 reviews do you think were positive?
Well, I'm just gonna say Bob's addiction is starting to negatively affect the show because it's kind of his box has ruined this game.
Yeah,
you love my box.
I have to know that
still
it's
one of you will be further from the answer than the other. So
I know that it's certified. I actually don't know what the certified threshold.
I'm not 100% either, but I'm not gonna.
So, but I gotta go. I gotta go high. Ours was what 4.3.
Yeah.
Ooh, the 90s. Is it gonna be as high as the 90s? I don't know.
It's the 90s.
I'll take it at 90.
90. Okay, Bob. How about you?
Ooh, yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty high. 90. Will it be higher than a 90?
Yeah, it's hard to say.
You think so? That was a quick yeah.
I think so.
Pull the trigger, Bob.
I'll go. I'm gonna do the $1 with a 91. 91.
$1 Bob, classic Bob.
All right. Well, but there's something that I like to refer to as a ringy dingy at play here. Somebody got this right on the button, and that somebody is our boy Bob. Bob, congratulations to you. $1
Bob
over here, just getting a ringy dingy.
Rigatoonie.
Let me get that rigatoonie.
You got yourself a rigatoonie, my boy.
Yes.
Enjoy it. Throw some red sauce on that motherfucker.
Let me get that Sunday gravy, son. Yes.
Ooh. So we have
Tuesday gravy. I know that.
Let's go over to the audience score. There's 50,000 plus ratings for the audience score, a significantly larger margin.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with Bob this time. Where do you think those 50,000 plus ratings put this thing on the scale?
I love a larger margin. Let's see what we got.
I know you do.
I think it's got to be lower because this movie is like so unpleasant. I don't think everybody's just going to be raving about it. I'll go with. It's still going to be kind of high though. I'll go with like an 80. My boys, Project 86. Let's do it.
Oh,
86.
you're taking my boys?
I'm taking
my
your
boys. I'm taking your boys.
Not my boys. I think it's gonna be positive as well, but probably a little lower than that. And I'm gonna give a little bit more of a gap. I like a little bit wider gap, so I'm gonna put it at 82.
82. All right. Ooh, that's a gap. All right. Well,
that's a gap. That's a gap right there.
Oh yeah, that's a gap.
I'm a little worried about being a slut.
Going too far.
Oh, yeah. that's the line that you draw.
Crazy.
How dare you!
All right.
Oh God.
So 82 for Juice, 86 for Bob. Juice, you're going to take it away this time. It's a 75, so lower.
Woo! That's
end.
Really? Give me that gap. All right.
God damn.
Here's what the critics' consensus reads. The gift is wickedly smart and playfully subversive, challenging the audience's expectations while leaving them leaning on the edges of their seats. I think that's pretty fair. I'm not sure you guys heard a word I just said, but
I did not. All I could think about was this fucked up story that Justin told us many years ago when he worked at a jewelry store about this guy who found a gap.
Are you calling a cootie queen, you lint liquor?
That was the wrong gap. The wrong gap. It's not the gap you're looking
for. The crack. I thought it was the crack.
The crack. The crack in the leg. He was in the wrong space. He was going to town, but he was in the wrong area.
Man.
The wicked lies would tell.
What the fuck?
What a lot, man. Now that I'm just in my older age, that story seems more and more ridiculous.
Yeah.
Damn, dude. You fucked up.
All right. Well, let's read a negative review and see how. Are we going to make
Take it, Randy. Take it, Randy.
Let's read a negative review just to see if there's any humor to be derived thereof. It concludes with one of the most repugnant turns this side of a 60s era exploitation roughie, quote unquote. A quote unquote twist so vile it pretty much cancels out the considerable skill and accomplishment of what's preceded it. You know a movie's good when its biggest critics can't help but compliment it in their argument. You know a movie's got something going.
Is that? I've never
heard
that term.
Maybe it's a regionalism outside of the states or something.
I got myself a roughie here.
Oh, it's a real roughie. I don't know. I mean, it's easy to see how you could come to that conclusion, and I didn't. To me, it just fucking works.
Where I'm from,
it's
we
horrible.
Call them roughies.
Oh my god!
Oh my
My friend is clutching those pearls.
That's a bump right there. Oh my God.
It is a gift.
All right, that's the end of Rotten Tomatoes segment.
That's it. Let's talk some trivia.
All right.
It's totally time for trivia.
Ho there, boys. Some trivia. Old Joel Edgerton, as we already mentioned, he plays Gordo in this movie. He wanted to focus on his directing, though. So he filmed his own scenes as Gordo after 2 weeks of shooting had already been completed. And he knocked out all of his scenes in 7 days. Good for him. Yeah.
That's pretty fucking quick.
Killed it. The first title of this movie was going to be Weirdo, but the execs said nah, which I think is a good call.
I think it's a better title. Yeah. For a movie that's like
call.
This. I mean, that could have been fine. It would have been fine, but I think this one, like, it just speaks to the realism of the movie. It's a very grounded movie,
for sure. The Gordo was asking some questions when he was hosting trivia. I'd go to Gordo's trivia. He was the first.
Not with your girlfriend, I hope.
No, I'd go with my boy Randu. The first answer to his question was the Beatles' White Album, and the follow-up answer was Helter Skelter.
Yep.
I guess. And I didn't know this, so this was kind of interesting. In British English, a Helter Skelter apparently is a fairground slide that twists around the outside of a central tower. Did you know that?
I didn't know that either.
She's a fancy flapjack.
Brit's got some weird words.
Britain, get your words together, you cooters.
Skelter, huh? No, I did not know that.
Apparently so.
I didn't know that, no.
What else we got? So, yeah, there were 2 Bible verses he left on Simon's car. There is Psalm 7:15, which is, he made a pit and digged it and has fallen into the ditch which he made. And the other is Luke 3:9, which is, and now also the axe is laid unto the root of the trees. Every tree, therefore, which bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire.
It was a marriage to the beast.
Also, if he didn't rape her, his whole plan of like vengeance is tied to the idea of, I hope she gets pregnant.
Well, he knew they were trying. I mean, true.
You know what I'm saying? That,
there's a lot of weak points to the plan overall.
It's a little loose.
If she decided to get a paternity test, I mean,
it would immediately say like, you could get it done at the hospital. I think right then and there.
Get her done.
When we were watching, I was like, I was turning to Becky and I was like, "Uh-oh, whose baby is it?" And she goes, "The baby's gonna be black."
Becky would.
That's dark, man. It's like there's another dude in the mix. Jesus Christ,
dude, that would be a fucking twist. For sure.
That would be a twist.
Robin's got a little strange on the side.
Robin's just like, yeah, you guys both suck. I'm gonna go with this guy.
His inspirations for the screenplay included Alfred Hitchcock's Fatal Attraction and Michael Haneke's 2005 French film Cachet, as well as Park Chan-wook's Vengeance trilogy. The trailer for this movie was first released on April 1st, 2015. It premiered on Twitter's live video streaming app, which I don't think exists anymore. Periscope. Do you guys fucking remember Periscope?
No, that went down in flames.
Yeah. It was the first major advertiser to work with Twitter on Periscope. This was shot with a budget of $5 million. It grossed $60 million worldwide. Blumhouse killing it again. Also, this is the last bit I have here. The fear of monkeys is known as pithecophobia? Pithecophobia, I think. So, for all you monkey haters.
That's a terrible name.
Yeah.
You monkey haters.
It's not great. That's all I got for trivia.
Dude, I saw a bunch of wild monkeys in Vietnam, and it kind of freaked me out because there was probably like 50 of them, and I was like, these things could like kill me really easily. So I moseyed on along pretty quick.
Now you know what it's like to be a feudal lord.
It was weird. I was like, oh damn. I mean, I'm not scared of monkeys by any means. I like to see them.
Apparently you are.
When they're safely away. But when I'm chilling, there's like 50 around. I'm like, I'm gonna scotch.
You pathicophobe. Shit.
Scotch along.
Scotch along. Boys, let's talk Cooter of the week.
Straight chillin'. Cooter of the week.
Tell me that coot scoot boogie.
Jews. What are they?
Oh, you want me to bug it, huh? Oh, Cooter's a character type. Stretch on exclusive. Cooter has to hit 3 of these 5 points to be considered a Cooter. We want the Cooter with most points. The 5 points of Cooterdom are sexual deviancy, manipulation, smug arrogance, overall looking attire, and overall pathetic. I just don't know if we're going to be able to catch ourselves a Cooter this week, boys.
It's a Cooter-free movie. Roll credits. We're done.
Everyone's pretty,
it's a squeaky clean sound of music. Fucking shit going on.
Yeah.
Shit going on.
All right, boys. I think this is going to be pretty easy.
Doc. We ain't scientists.
Either way we go, you guys want to start with old Bateman?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
What is this character's name?
It doesn't
Simon.
matter.
Simon says.
Take it to the challenge, Simon. So sexual deviancy, I don't see a lot of evidence of that. He seems to be faithful to the wife.
He does, yeah. That's another thing they could have like thrown in there to make him real huge piece of shit. But yeah, he seems...
well, I guess you could argue. I don't think this really speaks to his sexuality, though. Is the whole thing about the original sin of casting Gordo as a gay boy so he can make fun of him.
Yeah,
I think that's.
I don't think that really qualifies towards his sexual deviancy.
Right, yeah.
He's just
it's weird too because the story wasn't that he's gay; it's that he was being molested. That's the thing.
By an older boy.
Yeah, it put him in a position to better himself by saying, like, I saved someone from molestation, and through that, people were saying he was gay.
Well,
so he didn't just say, like, Gordo's gay.
No, I don't think the sexual deviance is gonna play here. But
I don't think he gets sexual gratification from it, and I think that's
it's manipulation for sure.
Manipulation. This is a pretty good
manipulation. Yeah,
dude.
Whoa, yeah, the Danny thing, man. That's
smug arrogance.
Shit.
Holy shit!
Roof. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Man, even if you didn't get the promotion, you still got a great job. Like, just chill.
Dude, how do you think he got that though? That's the thing. Is like you got to think like a guy like this has been doing. That's the thing that whole subplot adds to this is like. He's gotten all these beautiful things in life. How much of that is attributable to him being willing to destroy people's lives on the way?
That's true.
And that question should be asked of every CEO in the country and the world. Yeah. Anyway,
it's rewarded them in their lives, so they continue to do it. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Look and attire. Everybody's pretty normally dressed in this movie. The only weird thing,
except for the monkey mask,
which is not him. So
yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Pathetic as
patheticness.
Fuck.
He's pathetic.
He's pathetic. He's pathetic, but like he's kind of like low key pathetic. He would never see himself as pathetic until the end of the movie. The whole ethos of like everybody's a winner or a loser, and if you're a loser, like that whole thing is like. That's the mythology that somebody ascribes to justify the most selfish and craven behavior possible. Yeah. And it's like loathsome and disgusting and pathetic. Yes. I think that's where his patheticness really is. But he would never describe himself that way until he is balled up on the floor of a hospital at the end of this movie. Yeah. And that's what the whole movie is him having to reckon with the idea that now he's the loser. Oops.
He's a jabroni.
It turns out that being a loser is...
It is a gift.
I'm glad we're all winners, boys. I don't know if I could do this podcast.
I've never had a bad day in my life.
No matter what.
What's on your mind, Bob?
All my friends are winners. That's by design. So
everything's coming up, Bob. It always has, and it always will. Okay. Gordo also is through the roof. Cooter here. I mean,
his patheticness is a lot more on the sleeve.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he lies about, now this is part of his manipulation. So this is a weird thing because we don't actually know a whole lot. I guess he's never was. The whole story about his wife and the kids is made up.
Yeah, I think
right?
so.
We don't really know. Yeah. But it stands to reason.
I think
maybe.
so.
Honestly, the fact that he had that recording of them talking makes me think that he left explicitly to elicit their true reaction and get recordings of them. I thought so
too. Yeah, I thought
which would mean that he wasn't talking to an ex-wife or a job or anything. He was just gone.
And obviously he had to talk about the kids because if he was recording them, maybe he was listening to them and knew that they went upstairs because they say like, "Oh, he's got kids."
Yeah, right.
Because they opened the kids' bedroom. So,
but then again, he might have. There's no definitive proof on that. And I could see it. I don't think it changes the game much if it was true.
Yeah. He's hosting trivia. So, can we give it? No,
yeah, he's never had sex.
Nothing. Oh, my God. Pathetic as fuck. Manipulation as fuck. Sexual deviance as fuck.
Yeah.
His attire.
He's not smug.
No.
We could give him looking attire for the monkey mask, right?
Mask. Yeah.
Looking attire. I'd give him. It's a low level thing because it's like
it's part of the manipulation.
A, pragmatic, and B, it's part of the manipulation. Yeah, he wouldn't be wearing a monkey mask. So he would just be wearing a balaclava or some shit.
I guess Gordo is slightly more Cootery than Bateman, but they're both certified Cooter material.
Yeah. I think they share a bunk personally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They can finger bang all they want together.
Okay.
All right.
Bob. Bob, we're gonna have to confiscate your fingers, I think.
No. Let's.
I don't think there's anybody else to talk to.
No, I don't think so either.
I don't
think Robin would hit it, and those are really the characters here to speak of.
Mm-hmm.
Let's, gentlemen, let's glaze on over what we've been watching this week. We're running a little bit late. I was going to say, we got a bunch of voicemails, so let's go ahead and jump into our Hotline Screams.
Hotline Scream.
Making me press 2 buttons. Jesus Christ.
I didn't make you do anything.
Damn, these people are confusing.
Do yourself, Randy. You're just a loser, okay?
Oh, shit.
If you guys are listening, call in and leave a voicemail to be featured on next week. Hit us up at 904-638-3231. We got 4 voicemails. We're going to hear from 4 listeners this week. First up, Hydraberg. Let's hear what he has to say.
What up, boys? It's your boy, Hydraberg. I'm just calling in. I'm listening to the Requiem for a Dream cast, and Justin's talking about how this is the first time he's ever heard of ass to ass in this film. And I'm reminded of my stepbrother's bachelor party from the late 90s, before the film actually came out. There were 2 strippers there, and one of his friends' houses. The living room area was like cleared out for like drinks and games, and then the bachelor party itself, the strippers showed up and they did a little thing, and they made fun of, they made my stepbrother do stuff, and it's fun. If you've ever been to one, you know what to expect. But then the 2 of them also did pull out a double ding dong and had it in both of them on their backs. And then one of the most talented things I've ever seen in my life was they both switched positions, ass to ass, and the thing stayed in. It never came out. I was like 17, 18 at the time. I'd never seen anything like that. So, and it molded me into the man I am today. So I just wanted to say that was the first time I've ever actually seen ass to ass. We did not shout that term at them though, and they were compensated. And I do not think they were on any speed, methamphetamines, or heroin at the time. Who knows though? But I just wanted to call in with that quick story. It's been a while since I called in. Thanks for showing love to A Cut Above, you guys and your community. And I'm looking forward to the next episode, guys. Keep chilling.
We're going to get arrested. Also, too, I would like to clarify that the first time I watched I watched this was when obviously I'd seen this movie before, so I just want
hell of a story.
Yeah,
there's honestly
Heidelberg's always bringing some wild,
dude.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think maybe we're the weirdos. I don't know, but like, and I don't want to speak for you guys, but for me, and I think that you guys too. Like, there's nothing in this world more uncomfortable to me than being in a strip club and having that shit happen around you. It's too much for me, man. It makes me feel very uncomfortable.
I don't like to pay for my yabos. Okay, that's just I don't appreciate it.
I've never been to a bachelor party that had like strippers in a situation.
Me neither.
Like
all
that.
Our bachelor parties are like absolute dork
Drinking.
fests.
Yeah,
going to medieval times and shit. Yeah.
Get the juice now.
Yeah, that sounds wild, dude. I've never seen anything like that.
That does sound wild
in my life. That's
well, I mean, I've seen things like it.
I mean,
we all have the internet, people. We all have the internet.
I mean, not unlike my brother-in-law's floor or what, No, that's what I'm saying.
I've never.
You never got the spray of the ocean on your face, huh?
Damn.
You put your ear to it, you can smell the ocean.
Man, between Heidelberg and G-Baby, man, we've got some wild stories.
Man, everybody that listens to our show is really horny. That's wild.
Including us, apparently.
Buddy, you've been talking about finger banging more than this movie, so let's move on.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's some bullshit. All right.
What's voicemail 2, Bob?
Number 2, we're hearing from Caitlin. Let's hear what she has to say.
Hello, gentlemen. This is your friend Caitlin from Plug It Up. I wanted to tell you that this week I've been tapped to take care of my friend's diabetic cat with asthma.
Oh, shit.
His name is Randy, short for Macho Man Randy Savage. But because I've been listening to your back catalog pretty much nonstop lately, I've been calling him Randu. Today I'm going to go see Randu the cat and give him his insulin shots, and I'm very nervous to do so, but so person Randu, send your well wishes to Kitty Randu. I'm going to do my best. Also, your back to school poll picks inspired me to cover Raw on my show, so now it's a battle. Just kidding. But Raw is amazing. Love you guys. Hope to have you back on soon. Bye.
Randu! She's on with my picks. Yeah. Good call.
That's awesome.
Raw is a banger.
Good. Congrats to your asthmatic. I forget the other ailments that cat has. But congrats to your diabetic asthmatic cat that you're caring for.
Man, that's another
give it
thing.
my congratulations for its name choice.
That's like another kind of personal anxiety flaw of mine is I can't take care of anybody else's pet because I'm so scared that they'll die in my care, and I just can't live with that guilt.
Jesus Christ!
Hey,
you need a pet sitter?
Get the juice now.
Don't call me, dude. Don't call me. Rob's mom has asked me a couple times, and as much as I love her and his family, I can't accept the responsibility. I can't do it, especially too because she's got like a manual for taking care of it.
It's
there's a logistical problem for taking care of those.
But that's not the problem I have. It's like I could not live with like the guilt of hurting somebody else's or actually, I gotta get.
You don't know what death is.
Insulin shot. Holy fuck! I'd be
next
freaking out, dude. Oh my god.
You're a great friend, Caitlin. Goddamn.
You're doing
stressful.
Some work, man.
Yeah, for real.
Mm-hmm.
Raw is a banger, though. I did listen to her episode on Raw, and if you guys are unfamiliar with Caitlin's podcast, you should definitely check it out. It is called Plug It Up, and you can find that anywhere you get your podcast. She makes really good shit. And yeah, we do need to hop back on there. We were on an episode earlier this year of her show. If you want to check that out, yeah, talking about The Omen. Yeah, thanks for calling, Caitlin. Hope your Randu buddy is doing well.
Yeah,
give him our best.
Next up, we're gonna hear from our boy Hugh. Let's hear what he has to say.
Yeah, this is Hugh calling. Just wanted to let you guys know I was never much into horror, and I ran across your podcast, and you guys are quite entertaining.
Whoa.
I really enjoy it, and I've started listening to the podcast, and then I see what movies, and I've watched a few. Like I said, I've never been into horror a lot, but I've really enjoyed it. I got to say, I'd never seen Halloween 6 Resurrection. I listened to the podcast first, and I had to know what was going on, and I watched that thing. And when we got to the half-eaten rat scene, I just lost it. Sleepaway Camp, never heard of it. I had never seen it. Watched the movie. That's got to be the best movie ever made, man. That ending of that thing, that is crazy. Anyway, I just wanted to call and say I really enjoyed the podcast, and you've got me hooked into watching a lot of good horror movies, and I've decided to take your last week's movie, Coherence, and make a pickup line from the movie. And it goes like this. Hey, baby, do you want to know how I know that you're a 10? Because I've met 9 of you already tonight. Well, there you go. Keep up the good work. I enjoy the show. Thanks.
Phenomenal.
That's a pretty solid pickup
Damn,
line.
Hugh, hell of a voicemail. Good pickup line.
That's a first, by the way. I don't know that I've ever had anybody tell us that we convinced them to watch horror.
Yeah,
it's rare.
So that got me really curious as to how he found our podcast in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Stumbled across it, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
curious.
I love that he loves Sleepaway Camp.
Dude, me too. That was cracking
What a
me
choice.
up. Yeah. For somebody who doesn't like horror, to be getting into horror and watch Sleepaway Camp and then think it's one of the greatest. That's
fantastic.
That is, man.
Yeah.
One of us. There's like usually a pretty big barrier for entry for that kind of movie.
Yeah.
I also love that we are encouraging people to watch Halloween Resurrection, and then that has become a staple of our show. That fucking rat.
Jesus Christ, that rat.
Damn. Oh my God.
That fucking rat.
Oh my God. It's like the smallest detail in any Halloween film, and yet it's like a staple of our show.
Yeah. You had a meltdown, bro. You had a meltdown.
Dude, that shit cracked me up.
No, it didn't really.
I had like 2 meltdowns separatly, and I
have a meltdown every time it comes up in conversation.
Dude, yeah, that shit cracks me up still. It's like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Still talking about it.
It's a potent rat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, Bob, what's our...
I was going to say, I'm glad you came across us, Hugh, whether it was intentional or not, and really happy to hear that you're finding out some movies that you really enjoy by way of our dumb show. Thanks so much for calling, dude. Really, really good to hear from you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hugh.
Thanks for the words.
Last but not least, we're hearing from our boy Miles. Let's hear what he has to say.
What's going on, guys? It's Miles here. Just want to say congratulations to everybody that got a U-pick this go around. I know everybody was excited to get their movie watched, but I do have a message for everybody that won. I thought somebody would pick up on this after I got it started last year with The Howling 2, but apparently I was too subtle. So, like the great Dr. King, I also have a dream, and that is that one day the Straight Chilling crew will be forced to watch all of the Howling sequels before they finish other classic franchises like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. Yes, we need to review all of the Howling sequels. That's Howling 3, The Marsupials, Howling 4, The Original Nightmare, Howling 5, Rebirth, whatever the other ones are. Up to, I think we get up to 7. If everybody, so yeah, everybody one of you pick a different Howling sequel, and we can make this happen. That's all. Goodbye.
See, now I thought Miles was saying Halloween 2.
Me
first.
Too.
I was like, nope, we already put Justin's life on the line for that.
Yeah, me too. And then by the time you said
Howling.
Howling 7 or whatever, then I picked up on it. I was like, wait a second. He's saying Howling.
Howling. Yeah.
Howling.
Yeah, from what I understand, I've only seen the first 3, but from what I gather, they're just absolutely unwatchable movies. Just terrible. We haven't even covered the original. I think we've only covered part 2.
Yeah. That's Christopher Lee was in that, right?
In
big old role. Yep, big meaty role for Chris.
Yeah, killing it. That movie's wild as shit, man.
It is.
Miles, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if everybody hears your call and decides to change their picks. We got most of them already, but if all of a sudden I get a flood of emails saying like Halloween 4. I'm saying Halloween. Halloween.
Yeah.
Halloween 5.
Halloween. Okay, wait. Am I losing my mind?
I'm going to watch Halloween 2 this year.
Halloween 2. My sister's a weremang.
The night he turned into a werewolf.
The classic film. Everybody knows it. Miles, thanks for calling, man. We'll be, there'll be more you picks to come next year. If nobody else does so, you'll just have to do them one at a time, my dude. One at a time. That's all we got as far as voicemails. Again, if you want to call in and leave a voicemail for next week, hit us up at 904-638-3231. Gentlemen, do you have any prompts you want to throw out for next week?
Yeah, I thought of one just based on Hugh's call. I wonder if anybody can call in with a story about them corrupting somebody with horror. Have you ever made a horror believer out of anybody? And I want to hear about it. It can be siblings, it could be friends, it could be whatever. I'm curious because it's a somewhat new sensation for me, at least in a public square. And I'm pretty jazzed about it. 'Tis the season to talk up and give thanks for our horror.
Yeah,
praise the horror.
Spread the good word.
Yeah. What's that number again, Bob?
904-638-3231. Let us know if you've ever converted someone to the religion of horror. That's going to do it for us this week here at Straight Chilling. We're going to be back next week with a brand new show, as always. We're going to be talking about the winner of the September poll pick, which was Hell House LLC.
Now we're getting into the spooky stuff.
Dude, yes.
We're getting into the spooky stuff.
Good Lord. We're doing it. We're like really going to do it. We're going so deep.
We're doing it.
It's a gift. It is a
doing it.
Watch Hell House LLC. Get ready for next week's show. Until then, please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. You can hit us up on Twitter at STR8_chilling, on Instagram at Straight Chilling Podcast. You can send an email to straightchillingpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to join in our daily Slack channel conversations, hit us up at one of those social media outlets, and I'll send you a link so you can do so. We did get a couple new Slack joiners this past week, actually.
Yes.
Welcome aboard, everybody. It is wonderful to have you just in time for the spooky season, which is like perfect time to join, actually, if you're curious about
Slack. We're getting around the 100 mark, I believe, on the Slack.
Creeping up on the triple dig, yeah.
Also, our YouTube's about to hit 3,000 subscribers, so thank you to everyone for that.
Damn, that's hard to believe, man.
Remember when we were begging for 100 so that we could
please give us
URL? You had to have 100 to get it like a custom URL. Like, please
give us purpose.
Just go to http://www.
Straight
by next tube period.
by next year, we'll probably be up to 50,000 and then 1 million.
We'll probably
straight to the top.
Our OnlyFans will be exploding. We'll get like $1 million a month from all of our penis shots.
I was like, I thought you were describing our fans were going to explode. I was like, what are you fucking talking about?
Damn.
No.
Our reign of terror is just beginning.
We got a lot of fun stuff in store for you guys rolling out throughout spooky season. So stay tuned. And
that's a tease.
I'm just such a tease. Until next week, as always, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.